It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
This next question is the most exciting question that we get. And whenever I'm out and about and this question comes up, I do that thing. I don't know if you notice. When I get excited, I talk really, really fast. And I just start. This is from Joshua. Joshua said, B&B, what tips do you have to convince peers to start investing in a Roth IRA? I'm 25 years old and I want to share the realization of how powerful our dollars are at our age. Love your show. I have a few thoughts on this because I think what's wonderful is that when you can get a young person excited when they're young about saving, I'm going to tell you how I did it with my friends, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. First thing I did is I'm really, really good at math, and I recognize that most of the time, the market goes up, right? Like 8 out of 10 years, the market is moving in a positive direction. So when I talked to my first friends about investing, I did not tell them to go max out their Roth IRA. Because the worst thing that can happen, in my opinion, to an early investor is they say, you know what, it's 2007 and I'm going to go max out my Roth IRA. I'm going to put $4,000 in it. And then 2008 happens. And then they call you and they're like, oh my gosh, you idiot. What did you tell me to do? Whereas if I could convince them to save on a monthly basis, even if it's only $20, $50, $100 a month, and get it going, in that next year, odds are, if not all, some of their contributions are going to have made money. And I get to show them that, hey, remember that contribution you back in October of last year? It's already up 13%. Remember that? It's already up 8%. And show them that by and large, the account grows. And what happens is people get kind of addicted to it. When you start at $20 a month, I'd always say to my buddy, hey, you ought to see what happens when you do $50 a month. You ought to see what happens when you do $100 a month. And people naturally get addicted to it to where now I have a buddy, he called me a few weeks ago and said, hey, just did my net worth statement. It's unbelievable what my accounts have grown to, all because he just started with those very small amounts early on. We have some great resources on the website, moneyguy.com/resources. You want to get them excited? Show them what every dollar will turn into, and then show them what every $10, every $50, every $100. Let them see how powerful that can be, and get them to just take a taste, and it's going to lock them in.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to point to is the opportunity cost or the incremental decision making of what you can turn your money into. As I always think it's very powerful if you know the multiplier effect of every dollar you have. So that's one component. And then also the way I've tried to explain, and this is something I use for myself to kind of self-cope with jealousy or other things, is that it's not uncommon for us to look at somebody who's a little bit older who has a little bit more.
Sure.
And you get a little bit of that green streak of jealousy in you. And because Bo, you and I, there's more than a 10-year age difference between us. But here's the thing that I always use as a coping thing to get excited about if you're a younger person and you're trying to motivate your peers and friends, is that we know, in looking at 88 times over, a 20-year-old, every dollar is worth $88 by the time they retire. A 30-year-old, every dollar is worth $23. You can see that, it's not exact, but it's a little under 4 times as powerful for that 20-year-old as it is for a 30-year-old. If you're a 30-year-old, you're 23 times. If you compare it to a 40-year-old that it's 7 times. Once again, it's another 3 times more powerful. You can use that to say every decision you make while you're young is going to be this powerful for the future. And don't you want to have more opportunity to live life how you want, do what you want, when you want, how you want. And that's going to happen by your army of dollar bills doing, and show them that, what every dollar's worth. Go to moneyguy.com/resources. And if you look at that money multiplier deliverable we have, it's going to get people excited. And then also, like I said, is a great tool to keep you from having that big green monster that makes you make horrible decisions where you go buy a fancy car too early because you're trying to impress the person that's 10 years older than you, has a little bit more time in the system. You'll get there. And that's what I always think about is like, hey, if that person has $100,000, I have $10,000, I sure am jealous of their $100,000, but yet you're 10 years younger. You could say, look, me, the sheer fact that I have $10,000 in 10 years, it's going to be worth more than what I think I'm jealous of. Use that as a motivator. Use that to get your friends excited about the incremental decision-making that creates success.
Now, that was the very polite and kind and financial advisory answer. If you don't mind, you took a slightly different tactic with your buddies from childhood, right?
That is true, and I'm getting older now, and we go to we used to go to spring training to watch baseball, like all good old men should do. But because of the pandemic, it seems like this is falling on some hard times for a while. We're having to hit a pause on this tradition. But I told these guys from when we were in our 20s, I kid you not, I told them I gave them all the Millionaire Next Door. I mean, I gave them the Wealthy Barber. I gave them all the Wealthy Barber. And I said, look, you guys all need to read this book because I plan on having plenty of money when I'm old, and I need to have friends to hang out with when I'm old. So go ahead and read this book. Get excited about saving money so you can hang out with me because I knew my childhood friends would probably be in my life forever. And it's taken moderately. I've got about a half rate that half of my friends. The rest. But the reality is I'm never retaring. So I'll probably will be the one that they'll be working around my calendar. But it's definitely something. Go use that. Use the peer pressure tactic. This is, peer pressure gets a lot of bad press because of drugs and all the bad habits. You can actually use peer pressure for positive habits too. And saving is definitely an addiction that there is zero support groups for because the more addicted you get to saving at an early age, the more successful you'll be. So make it contagious. Get it to your friends so they also can be on that dream with you.